Another rate cut from the Bank of Canada. I'm going to tell you about that story and lots of other real estate news locally and across the country, starting right now. This is KW Real Estate News and Views for the week of October 27th. So big news this week. Wednesday's meeting, Bank of Canada cut the overnight rate by another quarter point. It's now sitting at 2.25%. Bank of Canada Governor Tiff Macklem talked about things being sluggish and, of course, the Trump trade war impacting the Canadian economy. As anybody knows living in Canada and paying attention to what's on the internet and on the news, the tariff wars are starting to bite, and our economy has been really slow, it feels like, for the past half a year at least. That's obviously part of what's going on with the Bank of Canada's decision, and also, the last time they cut rates as well. No surprise there. This is standard fare for economists. If the economy is sluggish, they cut rates with the hopes of spurring on economic activity, such as buying cars, buying houses, investing in one's business, hiring new people. All those kind of things are tied into interest rates, and if you make money more affordable, then people are more likely to spend. Of course, I don't think the federal government and the bank are particularly trying to target housing. It's a broader economy they're after. But there's no question that dropping this overnight rate by a quarter point will affect mortgage rates and will affect people's desirability to get out and purchase property. So I'm expecting it would give at least the attempt of boosting real estate activity here in the province. We're, of course, 25 or 30% below the 10-year average on sales volumes. So this Bank of Canada rate, I'd be thinking will have some positive effect on sales activity, no question about that. In other somewhat related housing news, Ford government last week put out a new policy bill on building more and getting things moving in the real estate market, particularly with regard to unleashing more rental properties onto the marketplace, as well as getting builders out there developing properties. The rental moves that Ford had made, though, kind of blew up in his face. They had an email campaign of 23,000 people wrote in and complained because Ford, of course, is going after what they call security of tenure when you're renting a place and your lease expires, it then goes month to month. And normally a tenant can stay without any changes to that whatsoever. They keep on paying the same rent, the same conditions on their lease after the lease ends. Now, Ford was talking about dabbling in that, supposedly to get more rental properties on the market, making it easier, in other words, for landlords to get people out. And that caused some uproar, needless to say, and Ford this week has backpedaled and took back those statements about moving forward and doing that. Now, talking about that, rental issue, they definitely need more rental properties on the market. And one thing that had been mentioned in Ford's bill was 53,000 case backlog at the landlord and tenant board. And they need to get more adjudicators, more judges in the board. So when you come forward with cases, whether you're a landlord or whether you're a tenant, you can get action from the government. This is ridiculous. 2 or 3 years ago with 34,000 cases. So they've done nothing except make it worse since then. The Ford government needs to spend money on getting the landlord and tenant board backlog cleared out before they do anything else. So that's what's going on with Ford in that regard, a little bit of backpedaling. Other portions of that bill, though, I think are quite positive. He talked about dropping the provincial portion of the HST when you purchase a new home. It's only for first-time buyers, mind you, but still it's a significant amount of change. For example, $1 million property, there's roughly $80,000 of tax you'd be paying on that to the provincial government and federally through the HST. Anyways, Ford's saying he's waiving that for first-time buyers up to $1 million. That could potentially be a savings of $80,000 if you're not paying that tax. Right now, the maximum you can claim is $24,000. So, that's a huge chunk of change if he goes forward and does that. That's good news for housing as well. It certainly will inspire more people to go out and buy and will back off a little bit of pressure that developers are facing as well. So these are good moves from the Ford government. As I said, the rental thing less so, but that's news there from the provincial government as well. Now, talking about other local real estate news here in Kitchener-Waterloo, a few things we got going on. Rim Park, Anybody who's been paying attention a long, long time ago would have heard about the Rim Park financing fiasco. The city of Waterloo got taken advantage of by a bait and switch financing company, and they ended up paying double the interest rate that they thought they were paying to build Rim Park. It went to court. They settled for kind of split the difference cost-wise, but there's a huge outlay of extra cash to pay for that debt. And as it sits right now, they're paying out an extra $100,000 a week to pay for the financing to build Rim Park, and that's still got 6 more years to go. So my advice to you, if you live in Waterloo, take advantage of Rim Park, because quibbles aside about this lawsuit and the high taxes in Waterloo, the facility is fantastic for sports. If you've got active kids or you want to go out and be active yourself, go there. It's a fantastic facility. I can't say anything except great things about it. It was just very expensive to build. Other local news. They've got a Service Canada storefront being opened up in Waterloo Town Square. The other one's in Kitchener. I don't know if they're closing that down or they're just moving it or they're opening up a brand new one in Uptown. But they've already got the sign up Service Canada. So I'm assuming passports and other federal government stuff, you can go in there for your documents. That's great news. Other things, I'm thinking the Shoppers in the Uptown. Next week in KW, free vaccines for COVID and the flu. I know I got vaccinated 5 times. I got COVID last year, and oh my God, I was sick. So the vaccines, in my case, I think probably saved my butt. Get vaccinated if you're worried about your health. Again, it's free. So that's COVID and flu starting next week. Other things real estate-wise locally, Urban Good Funeral Home. They've been up around Urban William Street. That's where their facility is on the corner. That land's been bought and sold, and they're moving to Victoria Street. They're going to put up a couple of great big towers instead for residential construction. So this is good news as well, bringing some more housing to the Uptown. That's a good thing too. Other local real estate news. You're looking at buying or selling, check out my website. I've got tons of great information for both buyers and sellers, what you need to do to get the process started. If you're buying, check out my neighborhood pages. All 59 are covered. Videos, maps, schools, groceries, things to do. I've got it all covered. And of course, you can book listings either through those individual neighborhoods pages or by going to my listings page. Right now, we've got 2,500 properties for sale in and around Kitchener, Waterloo, Cambridge, Waterloo Region, and Guelph. It's an easy to use resource. Booking a showing is as simple as clicking a button, off you go. Anyways, that's all I got for you this week. Thanks so much for watching and have yourself a phenomenal day.